Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kyle Jones from Jones Sport Fishing. Appreciate you guys being here. If you're listening on our podcast, you're listening to Fishing with Kyle, and we're on live right now on Facebook. We're also filming this for YouTube, so pretty stoked to be here. Our whole point tonight is talking about sockeye, upper Columbia sockeye, summer Chinook, that kind of stuff. Summer Chinook, we don't have an official opening yet, but holy crap, they just upped the forecast from 38,000 over Bonneville to 65,000. So I am almost positive in the next couple of days we're going to be either fishing or we're going to hear about when we are. So pretty excited about that. Like I said, sockeye opens tomorrow above Priest Rapids, and really excited. All our troll fisheries, we've got troll fishery below Wanapum. You know, you've got them there around Wenatchee, Wells Dam. Brewster's going to open up after the 16th of July. So some pretty exciting stuff coming up, stuff we really like to. We're going to start fishing, sounds like around the 8th. And with all this really high water, I think it's probably going to be a really good deal. You guys that are going to fish tomorrow, be really careful around those dams. They're going to be dumping tons of water. Currents are going to be pretty crazy. So be super careful out there. But yeah, we're excited.
What's our podcast name?
Fishing with Kyle. And that's available on Apple, Spotify, and like 10 other podcast things that I've never heard of. So, but it's available on a bunch. It's on Anchor. That's how we do it. Simple podcast here off of an app on our phone. So it's pretty cool. But I mean, man, we're excited. You know, we're the sockeye thing is a big deal to us, and it's a bunch of fun, and we're just excited that we've got some troll fisheries open, and that we're actually going to probably have some salmon fishing open for more than like 2 or 3 days at a time. So, but pretty cool. Did we have any questions yet, Danny?
Nope, nothing yet,
cool.
Really.
You guys, we want to leave this. We want to have this be pretty open-ended. So any sort of questions, I mean, anything ranging from how we rig up, rods, reels, bait, tackle, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we're kind of open to just about anything. You know, when we start, we're going to actually start upriver. We're going to end up we're not going to start at Wanapum. We used to fish at Wanapum, but we've just, over the last few years, we've just kind of moved upriver. So we're going to start fishing upriver. But and like I said, we're not going to start till about the 8th or stuff. We're going to take some family time here, and then we're going to go hot and heavy after the 8th. So, but so we've actually got a couple openings. We're open the 8th and 9th if anybody's interested. So, but yeah, we're excited. I got a little late on the shrimp game. My shrimp's not getting here until tomorrow. So if you guys are interested, I can do a video on the simple way that I cure my shrimp too. So, but yeah. So if anybody's got any questions for us.
Shane Persons did ask, Idaho Falls here.
Oh,
how much for a ride on the Snake for some big ones? That's what he said.
He's talking about sturgeon, must be.
That's my guess.
Big ones, yeah. We're for sturgeon in American Falls, we are $250 per person. That's a full day trip.
Oh, we've got Corey here. What is the fall Chinook fishing report for the Columbia River?
Fall Chinook, man, I'm glad. I actually just looked at the regulations today and tried to kind of get a handle on what we got going on. Astoria is going to open on the 14th of August, and it'll be open from the 14th to the 27th, and we'll be there. But it's going to be one salmon down there, and then as we move upriver, we jump up to Hanford Reach after that. And on Hanford, it's going to be limit of 2, and so we'll be up there middle of September. And then I was emailing back and forth with Joe DuPont with Idaho Fish and Game today, because we've got an exciting thing where we've started to move a lot of our fall Chinook back home to the confluence of the Snake and the Clearwater, and actually in the Clearwater. And if anybody wants probably one of the coolest fall Chinook trips ever, side drift and eggs on light rods for big fall Chinook in the Clearwater is an awesome deal. But our limit there is probably going to be 6 fish. Again, 6 adults with 1 hatchery fish, which I know or with 1 wild fish, which is the big kicker, because in years past we weren't able to keep any wild fish, and we've had 15, 16, 17 fish days where we didn't kill anything. But that's that's kind of gone now. So we've got being able to kill at least that one wild fish makes a huge difference there. But yeah, that's a quick rundown on our fall Chinook, which, that's what's exciting to us is starting tomorrow, we are basically fishing salmon nonstop until the salmon are in such horrible shape that at the end of October that we don't want to fish for them anymore. So, I mean, we'll be fishing for them all the way through, just salmon fishing hardcore for the next, 2-3 months. So it's kind of July 1's sort of a big deal to us just because it signals just a switch from, walleye and that kind of thing to just, back to what we really, really like to do, which is salmon. So, but.
All right, Don says, what is the best bait to use when you're casting from the bank?
Oh, man. From casting from the bank, so the best way that guys fish from the bank for walleye is or not walleye, but sockeye, is the plunking. There's some really good information out there. The guys on the lower river kind of had the plunking thing dialed in while they were fishing down there this year. So just a small spinning glow and a coon shrimp on some sort of a point break or anything like that where you've got a funnel and fish around a spot. I mean, that's a definite great way to fish. It's a little limited where we fish because those fish typically bomb right up to the bases of those dams. They don't really seem to hold anywhere, and we've got a lot of slack water in between. So that's why what we mainly focus on is the troll stuff. But coon shrimp and a spinning glow.
J-Rod.
Talk a little louder, Annie.
J-Rod. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but what are the fish limits and your rates?
The limits for sockeye are 2 per person, and then our rates are $225 per person for a full day trip, and then $150 per person for an afternoon half day.
Nice. Lyle subscribed to our podcast.
Nice, thanks, Lyle.
And then he has, how crazy does the Brewster pool get? Is it Drano Lake style?
I think it's worse than Drano Lake style because you got a whole bunch of people that show up that can't run their boats. I've had more problems at Brewster than I've ever had at Drano. But it's a big spot and a lot of people get in there and it's amazing. It gets pretty wild, especially on a weekend. You've got so much. At Brewster, you've got people trolling like 8 different directions. There's no, like at Drano, you've got a rhythm to things. At Brewster, you've got guys coming in and out of the mouth of the Okanagan, guys trolling east and west, upstream, downstream, and then of course the guy wants to be way over here when he's over here, and somehow you get blamed for cutting him off when you're just trying to not run into anybody. But yeah, I've got more hate mail from the way I run my boat at Brewster than anywhere else, and all I'm trying to do is not run into anybody. Yeah. So Brewster Pool gets nuts. Do not show up at Brewster Pool expecting it to be relaxing. It happens to be one of my favorite places to fish, and it's awesome. But be ready for it to be crazy. The launch line will be long. You might not find parking. One time a couple years ago when the limit was 6, my brother and I got there at 2:30 in the morning to dump our boats in, and Brett drove around Brewster looking for a parking spot, finally parked on the other side. If you guys know Brewster, he parked on the other side toward the highway from the Wells Fargo, jogged back, and by the time he got back, it was 4:15. We were getting ready to go, and the customers were showing up, and we were out of there. But we did land 36 sockeye by 6:30 in the morning that morning, so it was pretty cool. But so things get rocking and rolling up there. Expect it to be busy. But the thing about Brewster, you got to remember, there are not going to be any fish in that Brewster pool unless the Okanagan is more than 70 degrees. If the Okanagan's under 70 degrees, there won't be fish in the Brewster pool. So, there'll be a lot of guys some that show up early and start trying to fish Brewster, and maybe on the 16th, we need some hot weather. If we don't get it, we might not have a thermal barrier. We'll see what happens. But if there's no thermal barrier, those fish won't be there. So there's other spots to fish. And yeah, pay attention to that. USGS you can get a temperature graph on the Okanagan for right near the mouth. And that's usually a very good gauge. If it's under 69 degrees, those fish do not slow down and they head straight for Canada. So that's just one thing to think about. try to time your stuff right.
Trevor Larson is watching.
What's up, Trev?
Let's see. Joe Hopkins is on there, and he says, your team is awesome, Kyle Jones.
I appreciate it, Joe.
And then we've got Timothy Ward. He says, I want to talk about sturgeon opening below the dam.
Below the dam? Below what dam?
We need some more information, Timothy.
Yeah. If it's below Bonneville, I don't know a whole lot about below Bonneville sturgeon. I've fished down there, but that's about it.
Trevor says, hey, buddy. Let's see. Who else we got here? Corey mentioned, he says, they mostly use steelhead fishing gear to catch sockeye salmon.
Yeah, steelhead gear. I mean, that's what our trolling rods are steelhead gear. We run, just normal 8 to 12, 8 to 17 steelhead back trolling rods, same rods I use for pulling walleye harnesses, walleye cranks. I back troll steelhead plugs with them. They're kind of my everyday go-to rods. It's not a whole lot fancy. You do not need downriggers. A lot of guys like to troll around with downriggers. The same setup we use with the Cannonball and Fishing Pro Troll flashers, except just sizing down with a Dodger, almost like glorified. It's basically kokanee gear, but you do not need downriggers. A lot of times these fish are only 8-10 feet under the surface, especially in Brewster Pool and some of the other places. A little bit of lead, 4 to 6 ounce cannonballs will get you in the game in a hurry.
Okay, Matt Featherly. Any word on the Chinook opener?
No, not yet, Matt, but that's it's got to be coming soon. I mean, they opened, starting July 4th, they opened 5 days below Bonneville. So, and with that, I mean, they almost doubled our Chinook forecast. So I don't see any reason why we don't see an opener fairly soon. Really, I mean, if they don't do it, they're just dragging their feet. So hopefully soon. It'd be nice if we could actually get a definitive day. I could care less if it's the 15th or the 8th, but hopefully we can at least get a day where we know we're fishing Chinook on what day. But yeah, pay attention because we'll announce it whenever we do, because that's what we really love, fishing summer Chinook on the Upper River. That's probably sockeye are by far the best tasting and most popular, but summer Chinook is my absolute favorite.
All right, Jason Danielson, is there a chance they will up the fish limit in the pool?
Actually, Danny and I were just talking about that today. The sockeye numbers are looking really good, so let's hope. We've had lower limit or higher limits on less fish, so I'm really hoping that we end up with 3 or maybe even 4 fish this year. It's looking good. Just keep your fingers crossed that those fish keep ripping over the dam. I mean, 17,000 day before yesterday. We'll know what went over yesterday tomorrow. So, I mean, those are awesome numbers. So hopefully we do get some more fish.
All right, Timothy got back to us, and he was talking about Bonneville.
Yeah, I don't know much about down there. That sturgeon fishery is a little out of my wheelhouse. There are some really good guys that fish that area, though, and they could probably get you a lot of information. Eric Swanson, I've actually fished with him before. He's solid. He's one of the better sturgeon guys down there. So,
Josh Nations, what's the go-to scent on your coon shrimp for sockeye?
Whatever they're biting that day. That's a great question. I run a number of different things. A lot of times I've got a bunch of different scents. I really like the super dipping sauce scents that are made by Moneymaker. That stuff, I've been fishing that stuff for years. It's a fantastic product, and any of them really depends on the day. The krill anise is always in there. The new shrimp, I haven't got to use that one yet, but that was a killer on steelhead this last year. The salmon scent, and then later in the year when the water gets warm, the garlic can really fire off. But the best thing to do with scents and mixing them with your coon shrimp is don't put all your eggs in one basket. I do not cure my coon shrimp with a bunch of added scents in them. They've got a ton of krill powder in them. That is one of the additives that I add into my cure, but there's not a whole lot of after scents and stuff in the cure. I want my shrimp to be basic. I want them to be pink and I want them to be cured well and durable and have all the right salts and stuff in them, but I don't want a bunch of scent, because I've seen times where you can scent stuff up and you can actually ruin everything in your cooler because you dump too much of, say, garlic. So you dump a bunch of garlic in your cooler. Next thing you know, everything in there smells like garlic, and they don't bite garlic that day. Yeah, don't be that guy. Seriously. Mix small batches, soak a couple up. To be completely honest, though, most of the time, unless the bite's tough, scent isn't going to play a massive role in these sockeye, especially early in the year. Now, when we talk about late July, if they're still there in August, the longer they've been sitting there, scent really starts to play a big game and a big role. But until then, just make sure you have good shrimp, put them on where the fish are, and yeah, troll around, keep your speed where you want it, and yeah, be paying attention. A lot of times, I said, they're not that deep. I mean, we're fishing. There's times where I've only got 12 feet out on my line counter, and I've got a 4-ounce lead on. So I mean, that thing's probably barely even fishing 6 feet. So yeah.
All right, Dave Williams. He says, "Hi Kyle, great show. Hope to see you soon."
Dave. Thanks, Dave. Hopefully they open summer Chinook so you and Chuck can get the heck out here. I know you guys don't really care about sockeye, but I know you guys will be wanting to put the whack on some summer kings, so I'll call you.
Matt Featherly has another question. He says, what is your bumper leader length between your dropper and dodger?
So, about like that. I don't measure the bumper, so I actually have a flasher or a dodger sitting right here. And so what he's talking about is you have your lead ball here, bumper to your dodger, and then another, little bit of leader behind. I run 4 feet, something like that, between my lead and my dodger. Gives it plenty of room to swing around and move and get its job done. And you don't need any longer than that, but any shorter than that, and I think you're just kind of inhibiting it. But it's not rocket science. The biggest thing is you don't want very much behind your dodger. You want, less than probably 20 to 24 inches would be a really long leader. So anywhere between 14 and 20, 24, somewhere in there. Find the magic zone, mess around with your leader length, and yeah.
Okay, Slavic would like to know, do you start sockeye on the 8th because the numbers are going to get better? Or why are we starting on the 8th this year?
We're starting on the 8th this year because we don't have summer Chinook right off the bat. Normally, on a year where we had summer Chinook open tomorrow, we'd have a full boat of guys and we'd be rocking and rolling on summer kings. Now we would do that for 2 days, and then my daughter's birthday is on the 3rd, and then we have the 4th. So family-wise, we just kind of take a little bit of time off and make sure we get family stuff done, and then the 8th. And really, the sockeye thing this year, with the way the water's going to be below those dams, it's going to be raging, and I'm not in a hurry to get out there and battle some of those spots like at Wanapum or Wells. Wells can be just flat out dangerous when they're spilling water. So if you guys are going to fish Wells tomorrow, seriously, be really careful. If they're spilling water out of that thing, yeah, it's nuts. I mean, I've been out there in my 26-foot sled salmon fishing when they started spilling, and it made buoy 10 look like a cakewalk.
Whoa.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild. So pay attention. We're gonna get a lot of sockeye fishing in. So the later we get, it'll continue to build and it'll get good.
We've got Rochelle Anderson watching. Woo! Sarah Stout. We've got some Deary people on here.
Representing.
We got Jacob Bunden.
Yeah, what's up, Jacob?
Watching. Tyler, do you run anything else besides shrimp?
No. No. For sockeye, there's, at least in the Columbia, having a bait on there makes a huge difference, and shrimp is the bait. I've caught sockeye. When Chinook are open, I've caught sockeye on a pro troll and a super bait. We actually, if sockeye were open, or if Chinook were open and we were fishing tomorrow, we wouldn't put sockeye gear out. We would just keep fishing for Chinook. And a lot of times we end up with our sockeye right alongside of our Chinook with Chinook gear. So they, the idea, especially when the water's cool, once the water gets up much over 62 or so, they get a little more finicky and they don't seem to want to chase down a big bait. But I'm telling you, we've caught so many sockeye early in the year on Chinook gear that it's pretty cool, especially with only a 2 sockeye limit. But we don't have that this year. So, when we do, unless we're able to fish Chinook, we'll be going at it with sockeye gear, and there'll be a dodger and a little smile blade and a shrimp on there.
All right, we've got Greg Martinez, awesome video. Thanks, you.
Greg.
And then we've got Pam Louders watching now. That's Buell native right there.
Yeah.
We don't have any questions. I think we got through most of our questions.
Yeah, perfect. Well, anyway, if anybody has, I'll do a video tomorrow on what I do with my shrimp. It's pretty simple. So I've actually got an article on our website on how to cure coon shrimp, and I'm not super complicated with it. I'm basically using some egg cure, but go ahead, Danny.
Jason Danielson, coon shrimp. Oh, I just bumped up. Hold on a second. Coon shrimp, or can you use cured prawns?
I like coon shrimp because they're smaller, but cured prawns would probably work too. There's times where there's enough fish and actions going that I'll break a big coon shrimp into 3 pieces, just tipping my hooks with it almost. When there's a bunch of fish and a hot bite, you don't necessarily need a perfect, pretty looking coon shrimp like maybe you would feel like you would want back trolling steelhead. There's times where, if I get a big one, a lot of times I'll break it in half. I'll fish the tail piece and I'll fish the head piece. And so, if you've got prawns and they're pink and you can break a little chunk of that tail meat off and put that on there, you should be in tall cotton. But good shrimp once the water temperatures start to come up and once those fish start laying in the Brewster pool, the quality of your bait and how much they've been fished on, it starts to matter. Earlier in the year, it's not as critical.
Got another question very similar. Whole coon shrimp or just the tail when baited for sockeye? Also, if baited whole, head down or up?
Always the head down, because if you rig it with the head pointed up, it just rips the head off and you might as well just put the tail on. Really, for me, deciding on whether I'm going to fish a whole coon shrimp or, just a chunk of tail is if it's a big shrimp or a little shrimp. I don't pre-sort mine. I get a 35-pound box of shrimp and I don't have that much time and I'm just going to start curing shrimp. Some guys will go through and actually sort out their boxes, and make sure they've got, different sizes and all that. I don't really worry about that. I just kind of go for it. And if I pull a big one out and I only use the tail, I only use the tail. If a small one, I'll use the whole thing. So.
All right, awesome info, great show. What brand of shrimp do you prefer?
I do my own, but if I were to buy them, I would buy Columbia Basin Bait. That's a shrimp. That's a brand I've been using it for years and years and years. And if I'm gonna buy shrimp, I'm just gonna go get a quart of the pink or red or whatever color it comes out at of Columbia Basin Bait and call it good. It's probably in my opinion, it's the absolute best over-the-counter commercial shrimp cure or commercial product that you can get.
All right, we got right on. Thanks for all the info. Cal Stocking, thanks for sharing.
Absolutely.
Lyle, hey, you said there was one more question you had, and here's question number 3.
All right, Lyle, we're going to start adding up your questions.
What's your favorite go-to flasher dodger? Sling blade color.
All right, so I don't have one sitting here. I don't
I'm
know where
totally
they are.
kidding, Lyle, by the way.
They're probably in my boat, but anything chrome or chrome with some pink, I've used the big sling blades. These ones are the 5.5 by Rocky Mountain Tackle. Sam Barrett absolutely crushed them on these a couple years ago, so of course I had to jump on the bandwagon and buy some. And see how they do. They'll probably do just fine. But anything chrome and purple, chrome and pink, chrome. The max double D Dodgers, the bigger 8-inch ones, killer. Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, as long as they're chrome, that's what I'd start with. Add color later.
We got Lulu Stelk on here watching.
Hi, Lulu.
We got Shane Phillips.
Shane.
And then Dave Heaton. Columbia Basin Bait, Hedden.
Yeah. Dave's the man. Dave knows his bait.
And that's all we have. Oh, wait. He says, oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. Dave says Columbia Basin Bait is available in Wenatchee, too.
Yeah, there we go.
Billy Pritchett. Did I say that right? Downriggers or droppers for sockeye?
Droppers, always. I have not found a time and a place where I need to go spend $500 a piece on downriggers. Yeah, no downriggers on my boat, and I can't imagine a situation where I would ever want them. I could fish the river from Astoria all the way to below Chief Joseph Dam with droppers for Chinook and sockeye. With that said, I don't fish Lake Wenatchee. Lake Wenatchee opens. I've never been there. Well, from what I understand, sometimes those fish hold deeper, much deeper, and a place like that, downriggers probably would pay off. But we're never running for sockeye more than maybe 20-25 feet. So, if they're in 35 feet of water, I can hit that pretty easily with a 6-ounce cannonball. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks for the question, though. That's one that we deal with a lot, is cannonballs or downriggers.
We got Jansen Cummings watching.
Jancy Pants. That's my man.
Let's see. Mike might be coming in a little here, but he asked, do you add scent? If you want to touch on that again.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I do add scent, but I add it afterwards. If you want to look back, I talked about the super dipping sauce has been fantastic for me over the years, and I'll continue to use that. But we also use smelly jelly, other stuff too, but that super dipping sauce has been pretty key for us at times. But like we said earlier, mix small batches. Don't blow your whole bait, on one scent, because it worked last year.
Right.
Small batches. So
we got Slavic. Do you use squids?
Oh, hoochies? Yeah, sometimes.
And what color?
Pink or orange. I'll actually show it to you. I just tied up a whole bunch of sockeye leaders today, so you'll see here. Don't worry about zooming or anything.
Push it down, but yeah, just hold it up.
Yeah, you guys will see. I mean, my rig's simple. Smile blade, couple of beads, and a couple of little treble hooks. Number 6s or number 4s. That's my setup. I don't get any more complicated than that. I don't add other flash. A lot of guys like to tie up more, type fly type stuff, but that has that rig right there, and a number of different colors: pink, gold, silver, even a chartreuse smile blade. It just mess with that, and that's my setup. But we can take a picture of that too and post it if anybody'd want to see that rigging. But yeah, simple. Try to keep it simple. Don't make your stuff too complicated. The more simple you can keep it, the more you can focus on the other things like depth, speed, all that stuff.
Okay. Tyler Jolly says, thanks for sharing, Mr. Jones. Tony Fisher, thanks for share. Kyle, get him.
Thanks, Tony.
Chasin' Chrome.
Two pretty good fishermen right there.
Nice. Chasin' Chrome says, Kyle, that Gibbon strip is money. And then Mike Budd says, thank you. Got in late.
Absolutely. So if anybody just wants to send me some shrimp to fish, I'd be down with fishing some shrimp. So prove me wrong, I guess. But send them to me, because I'm gonna do mine.
All right, that's it for right now.
Cool. Well, hey guys, if there's no more questions or anything, I really appreciate you guys chiming in. We're excited, super excited to get back to fishing and, well, get back to salmon fishing, doing what we really love to do. We have fun with walleye, but by the time this rolls around, we're ready to catch stuff that actually pulls hard. But Danny said we got another question.
How fast do you troll?
That's really good. Usually somewhere between like 2 to 2 miles an hour. It really just depends on my rod tips. If you're trolling upstream in the current, you're gonna be just looking for that thump. I mean, it's hard to explain it, but it's like thump, 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 thump with the Dodger. If it's going, you're going too fast. If it's not moving, you're going too slow. But that's another reason why I don't run downriggers, because a downrigger guy's got to watch his speed the entire time, and if you're going, there's current in these spots, so you can't necessarily tell exactly what's going on the end of your rods. With cannonballs, I know exactly how fast I need to go because of what my rod tips are doing and what my Dodgers are doing. So for me, I see that as a major advantage. So just, kind of that steady thump, 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 thump. I mean, you can get it going a little faster, but pay attention. Mess with speed. If you're going upstream and you're hooking fish going upstream, great. Then maybe you need to go slower. But if you turn around and you're hooking every fish that you do on going downstream, especially in the Brewster pool, you need to pick your speed up a little bit when you're coming up, because it's a speed issue. They're wanting it faster. The other thing I want to talk about, fishing Brewster pool, I just thought of this. There are times when the sun angle there makes a huge difference. So mid-morning, once that sun's come up and it's shining super bright at one angle, a lot of times those fish don't like to turn and chase things into the sun that much. And I'll find that during that period of time, going downstream with the sun at my back, I'll hook a lot more fish. Same thing in the afternoon. Late in the afternoon, when the sun's low on the other side, we'll hook most of the fish coming upstream. So if you guys aren't getting bit, or you got that kind of thing going, or you're noticing it going one way, there's nothing wrong with pulling out and running the whole way back up around and going one direction. I mean, guys will be trolling. Don't go running right through everybody. That's BS. But go around. But, pay attention to the sun angle and where you're catching fish and how that's going and where they're laying at. Trust your sonar. And if you got a windshield, please look around it and not at the back of your rods. And nobody's trying to run into you or cut you off. We're all just trying to dodge boats the same as you guys are. So I know I'll get somebody that doesn't like the way I drive. I get emails every single year at Brewster telling me that I'm cutting people off, which is hilarious because I'm just trying not to die. But
Amen.
But
Barry Howard.
Barry.
You rock. See you up there.
Thanks, man. Thanks, buddy.
Glenn Yaman. I might have some more tuna for you.
Yes. I'll always take donations of tuna, Glenn. Always.
And then John Parker says, what pound, liter, and type?
I run 25-pound fluorocarbon. And the Seagar SST or the P-line. Both of those are decent lines. They're not super expensive, and they hold up really, really well. But I don't know that it matters. I've tied them up with 40-pound Berkeley big game because that's all I've had, and smashed fish, and then I've also fought with lighter leader when it breaks. What you do want to run something heavy enough, because with your Dodgers, I've had fish loop up around that are going nuts and cut themselves on a Dodger and break off. Plus, if you're running heavier leader, you can catch a bunch of fish and just get them in, flop it back out, and not have to worry about your leader being all banged up. But yeah, don't go light. You don't need to go light. Plus, there's big summer kings, and you want to be able to actually land those and get your gear back. Losing your hot Dodger and your hot setup to a 25-pound summer Chinook because you were trying to fish kokanee gear just seems sort of silly. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much. We're at like the 35-minute mark, and it doesn't even feel like we were there. So if you guys have any other questions, write them down in the comments, send them to us, email us at Kyle at jonesportfishing.com. Watch for this video on YouTube. Make sure that you follow our page, follow our Facebook page, like and share our stuff, please. It helps us so much. And then subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then you can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. And I don't know, there's like 10 other things that it's on, but I've never even heard of them. Podcast guys will probably know what they're talking about. But it's our podcast, again, is Fishing with Kyle. And we just thank you guys so much for being part of it and letting us kind of bring you guys on a ride with us. And this is sort of fun, a little bit outside our comfort zone. So anyway, we appreciate it. Thank you guys. We'll catch you next time. Hopefully what we've done is going to help you guys catch some more fish. Catch you later. Bye.